Hi, my name's Owen. I'm one of the worker owners here at Urban Cyclist in downtown Toronto, and today we're talking about 2 invisible upgrades to make your bikes and e-bikes the most dependable. Well, maybe more like 1 invisible upgrade and 1 hiding in plain sight, but you know what I mean. If your riding has ever been plagued by punctures, you won't want to miss this. Cycling is often the quickest and most reliable mode of transport in the city, and has become even easier, faster, and more reliable now with the prevalence of e-bikes. Fundamentally, bicycles and e-bikes should be comfortable, capable, but most important, they should be dependable and efficient. And if you've ever gotten a flat tire, then you know that dependability can quickly go right out the window. So now the obvious answer to help mitigate flat tires would normally be to just upgrade your tires, particularly if you ride an e-bike or a cargo bike, or even an e-cargo bike. And before we talk about that invisible upgrade, the somewhat obvious but hiding in plain sight underrated upgrade would just be your tires. We have been long-standing fans of Schwalbe tires, and not only do they make practical city and touring tires along with tires for just about all styles of cycling, but they've recently developed this new first cargo-specific tire called the Pickup. And the Pickup uses a double casing that not only has an extra stiff sidewall to help handle the rigors and extra weight that literally support a cargo bike, but this double casing also greatly reduces the chance of getting a flat tire. But if you wanted to go above and beyond to make sure you've got the most reliable setup, a tire liner will increase that dependability even further. So first of all, tire liners are not only a super thick puncture-resistant belt, but they also protect your rims against impacts and even act as a run flat. So in case you manage to even get a flat while using tire liners, you can more easily roll right over to your local bike shop to help you get a fix, without risking damaging your tires or your rims. And this is often one of the most challenging aspects of cargo bikes. Since they have such a huge payload capability, far beyond what most of us can comfortably manage on our own without the bike, if you were to get a flat while running errands fully loaded, it can be very uncomfortable getting it back home. You not only have to deal with all the weight of the cargo, but on top of this, you'll have to carefully limp the bike over to your nearest bike shop to get patched up and back on the road. And keep in mind that if you normally roll a bike with a flat tire without a tire liner, the tire itself may detach and unseat from the rim and can cause damage to the rim or the tire itself. This is yet another reason to seriously consider a tire liner, such as a Tannus Armour insert if you aren't comfortable changing your own tires while on the go. The reason we call this the best invisible upgrade is because this actually lives under your tire. So you've likely never actually seen these on a bike before, but chances are you know more people than you'd think with them, but you've never seen or noticed because they're tucked away inside the tire, completely hidden from view. So both the Schwalbe Pickup and the Tannus Armour on their own are great as resistant to punctures, but they're even better together. They're perfect for all kinds of heavy-duty riders, whether that be families traveling by cargo bike couriers, by commuters. It's for anyone wanting to increase the dependability of their bike. And before we get down to all the details with the pros and cons of tire liners, we're going to take a quick moment to identify all the parts of the tire, tube, and rim interface so we can properly go into how Tannus tire liners fit into the mix. So if you're already familiar with how tires work and the terminology, feel free to use the chapters below to skip ahead to the next section of this video. So bike wheels are composed of a hub, the spokes, the rim, a tube, and of course, a tire. So on a typical bike wheel, the tube lives inside the tire and the tire locks onto the rim. And a typical bike rim is called a clincher. The clinching mechanism is actually a function of the interface we call the hook and bead. Both sides of the rim have a hooked shape, which is only visible in the actual cross-section. The hook runs all along the sides of the rim, and the tire has a bead, which is usually a steel wire bead, but can also be Kevlar in folding tires. And this bead is size-specific to the tire, and it runs along the innermost portion of the tire. And all clincher tires have 2 beads, one on each side. So the inner tube, which is the component in the whole system that actually will get a flat, is a rubber and round donut-shaped tube of rubber that creates an air chamber. And the air pressure from this tube is what actually helps hold the bead of the tire to the hook of the rim. The clinching is what's happening with the air pressure from the tube. The casing of the tire forms the main structure internally, while externally the tread here is where the rubber actually meets the road. The casing quality can determine how puncture resistant a tire is, but the quality of the rubber compound is also important as a factor. Some tires even use an additional puncture-resistant belt in between casing and rubber to provide an additional barrier. Tannus Armour inserts act like a double defense, so in the event you actually get a possible puncture, the inner tube is now protected not only by the casing and the tread of the tire, but also by the closed-cell, high-density foam inside the tire. And with the growing popularity of electric and pedal-assisted bicycles and cargo bikes, tire liners are a simple yet effective tool to dramatically increase the reliability of any bicycle. So now we're going to take a closer look on how they work and get into some of the pros and cons of the system. So a pro would be that these become a run flat, and what we mean by when we say that is this will help you keep riding with a flat tire in addition to helping preventing the flat in the first place. So of course, if you do get a flat tire with these Tannus Armour inserts, you shouldn't just keep riding indefinitely, but it will help you roll the whole thing to a shop for help. So a potential con would be also, this is a little bit of added rotational weight, but that is arguably pretty minimal and hardly noticeable, particularly on a pedal-assisted bike, which is a very often common usage case for these. Another pro would be that they're super dependable. Less flats just mean more fun riding your bike. A potential con would be that these do take a little added time and a little added complexity to change flat tires, but of course you are much less likely to get a flat tire in the first place. And of course these still do use an inner tube, so you can still tune and adjust the ride quality just like you would with a traditional bike tire. And another potential con is that these are a little harder to install the first time, and you may have to cut them to size depending on which size tire you are using with your Tannus inserts, which is really only an additional challenge if you're planning to do it at home. You can always have your local bike shop do it for you. And of course, this is a pro that there's not only added protection against a puncture, but also pinch flat, so it should be like an impacted flat. So in the end, I would personally say that the pros of this type of system absolutely outweigh the cons, and these cons are hardly notable because most of our customers' usage case would be typically putting them on electric assisted bikes or heavy-duty cargo hauling setups. So a little added weight versus the immense dependability increase with these, it seems like a no-brainer for me. Electric bikes and cargo bikes are unsurprisingly heavier than a conventional bicycle, so they can be much harder on all the wearable components, including the tires. Modern bicycle tires will sometimes use a rating system to clearly show if they are up to the task of being used on electric-assisted bikes, E25 or E50 ratings. One issue is that these ratings are often used in a European framework, so although we will see them here, on imported European products, this isn't something you'll see on every e-bike tire since they come from all world. So sometimes tires will only let you know how reliable they are by how they actually perform and how dependable they are through real-world testing. And if you are prone to flats on any bike, not just electric assisted, you may find that the Tannus Armour inserts are a very good idea, not only to meet the rigors of your riding, but to exceed the demands of your daily riding. And this is largely because you also gain that run flat system we were talking about before. So you're far less likely to get punctures with the liners, and it's way easier if you do. Many cargo bike owners will attest that these liners are absolutely worth it for that run flat feature alone. And that run flat fit system, as we've mentioned, can let you ride your bike with a flat tire a short distance without your tire unseating or falling off to avoid additional damage to both the rim or your tire. Of course, care should still be taken when riding on rough terrain, and it should be noted that this is only going to apply to the smaller range of the tires. The super wide, and by that I mean 3-inch and wider, will not be able to use the run flat technology. All of the more standard sizes, also known as these sizes you'll find normally stocked here at Urbane Cyclist, will work just fine with that run flat feature. You should also follow those size recommendations on the packaging and find the appropriately, now slightly smaller than standard tube size required for the tire size in conjunction with those inserts. So if the time has come to replace your tires, one of our top choices would be this Schwalbe pickup. Schwalbe is renowned for its incredibly durable tires for all types of riding, but this is their first official foray into a true cargo-specific tire. They have developed what they call Super Defense, which utilizes multiple extremely strong carcass layers, making the casing not only extra stiff and stable under heavy load, but also exceedingly resilient to punctures that would hinder a lesser tire. And these, of course, come in most popular cargo-specific sizes that are an ideal fit for very popular bikes we see very often here, such as the Turn HSD or GSD, many models from Yuba, such as the Combi or E-Combi, and of course, many bikes from recent Mueller as well. So now combining these top quality tires, like a Schwalbe pickup alongside that Tannus Armour, will without a doubt be one of the most reliable possible combinations you can find. Adding tire liners into your wheel setup might seem like a little bit of overkill if you're someone who likes to keep it minimal and lightweight. But if you want to make sure you're not only going to have to not worry about carrying an extra tube or a patch kit or a pump on the road so you can keep riding, it's a lot simpler to have something completely worry-free. You can love riding your bike and also not love messing around with fixing it. Having something helping you is awesome, making these a no-brainer for the best invisible upgrade you can put on any bike. So thanks again for watching, and we hope these upgrades help make your bike super reliable too, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Ciao for now.